Chapter 10. Michael looks at the world. The state of the world is as it is. All of men live upon and populate this world. Most of man feels the need to serve a higher cause, to believe in something to validate their time on this earth, to find something that they can resonate with, and ultimately to steer and mold their inward and outward portrayals of themselves into that which can bring them the most gratification. Michael knows and remembers this aimless and tumultuous pursuit of validation and gratification. He had fought a good many battles to see and feel gratification and validation. However, in the midst of his fight, time has clasped Michael, unfolding truthfully before him, and therefore ensuring that he appreciates in specificity the much-desired brilliance which has already been entrusted as a gift within his very own nature and being. It is a state of consciousness that not only guides him, but also assures him even when he is unaware. Michael has experienced this continuously emerging comfort in the unfolding. Michael knows there is faith and trust that cannot be denied in this gift. Michael must now trust that this gift is all he needs. Because it is. It always had been. Michael knows there is no need to seek anything beyond the gift of his own existence. One of the beacons of fervor that many men have long resonated with is the banner of passion. Michael has seen many men rally to it. Many men live and abide by that sentiment and what it means. Men have developed systems of leadership to proudly hoist up those banners and wave it high in the day's breeze. To have peace with and within these systems have so far eluded man. Throughout history, unrest and corruption have always crept from the shadows of these systems. And as it always has been, at a favorable time of their choosing, the agents of that unrest will strategically opt to make a move. And in being caught off guard, the assault upon the general unsuspecting public will render the victims helpless in a desperate search for any resolution within that turmoil. Through Adam, Michael has seen that in history, these systems constituting agents sometimes end up devouring each other through their own unrest, corruption, and hopes of ascension. With that being said, Michael has also seen that agents are getting more and more adept at molding and adapting their existing systems to have it remain functional and efficient through corruption and failure from within. These practice acts have undoubtedly made all agents and systems infinitely more potent. Michael sees their might. It has tamed quite a few in this world. However, Michael is not swayed by any system or its distracting mechanisms. Michael's appreciation of his natural gift enables him to stand firm. It is a wretched calamity when the agents of unrest assert themselves. Victims within the general public will lose much. If an agent could do nothing else, they can obey. Their loyalty and treachery knows no bounds when it is adhering to a cause. Any act is readily and swiftly justified. Without their cause, they would be lost. For their cause is all that matters to them. In their minds, their causes have replaced the gift that is their own existence. Some of these agents ascend through the ranks of this world. They accumulate power, foresight, and knowledge to shape things as they see fit. They are calculating and precise in their ingenuity. They use their experience and lessons from past mistakes to calculate with discretion. Through an agent's schemes, the desperate attempts of their prey to fend off an agent's premeditated and erosive ways are nullified. For a prey's defense is immediate and bears no forethought or tedious planning. A prey's defenses are enacted through confusion and fear, and are therefore unorganized with no sense or direction. It is outmatched in every way. Michael scarcely believes this, for he was once stricken with grief and panic. An agent seeks victory in every inquisition he or she makes. Deception is one of their most coveted tools to victory. The agony and pain of another is a conspicuous sign of their decisive victory. An agent that has devoured much is bold and resolute, and must remain so in the hopes to devour more. That way, his or her fortune will be favored. Like any efficient mechanism, with fluid responsibilities. Those seeking victory and expansion have and will amend their techniques as they come and go so as to better achieve victory. It is an aggressive trait to improve their own lives. She or he must not waver in their pursuit of their goals. They have to remain focused with the task at hand. They have fear of losses of which they hide in the corner of their minds, for they covet what is theirs. If another were to know of these fears, it would leave the agent vulnerable. All who fear losing what they prize and value will do what they can to protect it. And as it turns out, all people fear to lose something. Michael pensively thinks back of his days of such thievery and malice. What did he gain from claiming all those victories that he held so dear and close at the time of its occurrence and achievement? He sees that in each victory and success, he had created new cycles of pain. Now lies the question that arises in Michael's mind. Where had his victims gone as a result of his premeditated actions? Did he leave them with ill will to act unto others as he had unto them? Did he cause the spread of rage? Michael knows that in this world, unfortunately, victims of rage themselves may very well become entities of terror. The former victims are capable of anger as well as retribution, and they will call upon those capabilities to rectify the slight of being looked upon as worthless. Terror could come in any form. Nevertheless, it is dreadful. Through his own pain and doubt of the past, Michael has watchfully learned that if one has intentions to hurt another and thus bring another pain, that pain will come. And when it has come and gone, aiming the mind's attention towards stillness is important. It may help to distract fractions of contemplations away from the numerous upheavals, and thereby easing the immediate moments of transition away from one's terror. This may allow another to gradually heal from the pain. Men have and will continue to have all these rules that try to instill order. When one man decides to seek his own order, many ultimately have disorder. The harder men choose to fight disorder, the more it devises and mutates. those who thirst for their own order. It is their passion that drives them. They use that passion to accomplish their will. And as that which has passion gets stronger and stronger, all who opposed are forced to evolve in order to stem that tide of fury. All will lose much of what once was as the conflict lingers on. This world is too vast to be ruled. That much Michael knows to be true. However, Michael accepts that their passion exists. A passion for a feeling. Many feelings. A search and chase for earnest preservation. To seek out a secure path to ensure one's future in existence. Adam, as part of the government, oversees the management of various funds and resources. At all times, he is given various agendas by his constituents and superiors. He is expected to achieve all goals through versatility and hopefulness. He knows that the security and preservation of any one certain agency's reserves and resources hinges upon the brain trust's dictated stagnancy of taxpayers' reserves and resources. Adam has seen men and women honor and defame many other individuals in the hope to secure the agendas and future of either themselves or another. Security in Adam's mind is a hope. Nothing is certain in life. When one or many attempt to snatch a propitious share of what belongs to all, it destabilizes the distribution of reserves and resources. This drives inequality and many a times inflation, which then churns a vicious cycle of unyielding economics. In a search for hopeful security, well-intentioned men band together to protect their fellow men against what they can foresee and withstand. Thus, overcompensating for adversity which they cannot and will not deflect. They resolve hardships. But what Adam has seen in his years of civil service is that sometimes the unity of these well-intentioned men will eventually become the hardships and bane for others to suffer and endure. Others who hope to care and provide for another. The hope of another is exchanged for the security and personal gains of those that have banded together. This could result in disdain and vitriol from those living in baneful hardships, which might possibly give way to apathy. This could also result in times of anger and hate, where a vengeance would finally unveil itself. For all who engage in struggles have the perspective of reality which is centered completely inward, on themselves, and so is their conscience. When hunters try to change another's circumstances to better their own, what a hunter really ends up doing is taking time from another. Because time is known to all. In many portrayals, it is presented with an enhanced value. It can be taken from another. Time spent in life with everything and anything. However, time is limitless. No matter how much a hunted may lose, there will always be more in this world. Time cannot be stolen by any other. Michael knows this train of thought deeply from his past experiences. Adam has helped Michael yet again to shed some clarity upon a situation. Michael knows of the pleasure experienced by a hunter through attaining vengeance. However, had he not been brutalized, Michael would have never put any worth into the deliberate act of aversion. the aversion from bending everything to his will when there are others that he sees. At all times, it remains as a whisper in the back of his mind that this aversion will impede his progress toward his luscious objectives, whatever it may be in life. However, he knows his ambition will never be deemed so significant as to resort to brutalizing another the way he once was ravaged. What was once clarified to Michael is now crystallized ever so much more. His ambition brought him and others down a horrible path once. Whether he is to be the punisher or the punished, that path is not worth taking as a course. All his uncertainty and fears, the whispers that he hears, it is the yearnings of his past coming to him. Another memory, another time in life that is now gone, lost forever. Michael goes to meet Adam one day. The conversation steers towards the days that have gone by. Adam thinks of his own plight. He detests its existence. He speaks to Michael. I've lost a lot. I've been chopped down. I didn't think I was going to come back from it all. I have many memories that come to me, good and painful. Not only are those elements in the past, it is all a feeling. Life is a sum of my many feelings, each one akin to the last. That is all I know, Adam says, after emerging from all that has transpired. Both Michael and Adam feel as though they have each been given clean slates. This emergence frees Michael's mind even more so to draw upon its innate ability to appreciate the display that is life. He truly feels the verity of the definite and intangible matters within and beyond the boundaries of himself. For the mind, in Michael's opinion, now continues to expand in how it recognizes and sustains much attunement to all in the world. A bolstered perspective and understanding now reveals itself to him. Michael's senses continue to surge and flux with surety. He begins to recall the violent jostles and subtle temptations that were always meant to be traversed through life. He knows that it will come to him again. Each rise and fall that comes with every feeling releases an outpouring rupture of obvious and underlying connotations for him to perceive. He sees it now. It is quite lovely to behold. He gathers his thoughts and peers into his mind. He realizes that he feels no burden in the face of this outpouring rupture that is at hand. Just an unshakable appreciation of what is. That being alongside an undiminishable comfort within the moment. He can see that due to his sense of inadequacy towards life in decades past, he had to endure a dreadful angst that burned and seared him continuously from within. It was upon him in every waking moment of his life. That very retribution in time that he suffered now fades to irrelevancy. However, he knows exactly what his thoughts were in time. He knows now that his outlook of awaiting mounting highs and even worse, being fearful within the hope of avoiding abysmal lows, had set him up for an unrelenting collapse into ruin. His intensifying angst that he had to stem at all times was a telling sign of what was to come. It has all faded away. Michael feels a rush of pride and elation in accomplishment. He feels the scars that formed from the evident recovery. That very notion of recovery turns to a jovial delight which leads him to feel a sense of security in time. He feels that nothing will ever burn or sear him again. Even if it does, he is untouchable. He is safe and secure. He is sure that time will unfold in his favor. He feels beyond anything that can ever happen. He loves to feel this way. It is all there in his mind. Adam has a satisfying and successful career. And by all means, he stands to continue to benefit and prosper from it for the rest of his life. He is both accomplished and secure through his acumen and affiliations. However, Adam does not stand blind to the works that both he and his colleagues have ultimately fulfilled within the developing circumstances of the world. Adam feels that his course taken thus far is one which he kindly needs to circumvent. In his mind, there is a way for him to linger on in the political arena, and it is to resign from the long-established institution and to continue on as an independent candidate. A candidate whose interests are free of coercion and control, unlike his present circumstances. That future offers him substantially less financial resources, and it would require him to leave his established life behind. To avert from the present course will require a firm nerve to stem the ineludible tide of reflexes that his mind will predictably impose upon him. He sees all this, and yet he continues to do what he must to sustain himself and his family. For they too have yearnings and cravings of their own which Adam will seek to answer or fulfill. Adam knows his current title and position is a highly coveted one, and whosoever should replace him would be in line to benefit and feast upon compensations and affluences that should have always been his. Adam searches inwardly for strength. He knows he can change. He resolves inwardly to try his very best to amend his ways, to avert from his present course. He begins to envision the realities of the way things are, and so he thinks to himself, I will, but it's not time. Not yet. Through his procrastination, Adam's mind experiences splinters in each and every task of work that he performs. As his guilt grows, these splinters accumulate, and as follows, he remains divided from himself. It is because of the friendship that Michael has provided him with that Adam often divulges to Michael the unfiltered opinions of events and occurrences. And as the dividing of his mind deepens, Adam's need for support heightens. And in that, these two friends have much to converse about whenever they meet. Adam declares what he knows to Michael. Adam knows that people in and of prominence involve themselves in highly controversial issues to implant strong, resonating messages, which are then strategically developed into fateful causes that divides all. This in turn breeds conflict and contention within and between societies. A conflict that festers benefits those involved in this strategy of implanting and developing which Adam has witnessed. As he continues to watch and witness events unfold, Adam can see that conflicts are aplenty. Secretive but yet subversive struggles between countries, which are sovereign military and industrial stalwarts, are commissioned by many of the controlling leaders of nations. It is a dangerous game of continuously standardizing new policies that aggravate and weaken rivals on the economic stage. The consequences of these campaigns are grave, History has shown this. Conflicts result in many calls to arms and weaponry. These leaders who implement decapitation and the weapon manufacturers are the ones who stand to gain the most from the many transactions of weaponry. Through his affiliations and associations, Adam knows exactly who these leaders and manufacturers are. Adam is seeing more and more so that the same leaders and manufacturers that he and his fellow colleagues have backed for many years, through the favorable bending of policies, have further compounded this awful situation by ingeniously forging yet another facet to their schemes. These leaders and manufacturers have mastered and maneuvered ways to profit from the inevitable need of the divided to search for repose and solace from their existential struggle by seeking out products, whatever it may be. These leaders and manufacturers have mastered ways to make much more than just weapons. Intricate and particularized studies of these inevitable needs have been launched to better understand and predict the patterns of mental states within the divided who search for repose and solace. Results of these studies are then used to better formulate products. Products that will be manufactured in mass, produced with efficiency, prominently marketed and backed by the same beneficiaries of the bending of policies within society. It is a plan which has had an abundance of premeditation and forethought invested into it. This plan has been in the works since the dawn of society itself. For as a society, Adam knows that all that are divided have themselves let leaders, manufacturers, hunters, agents, and overlords into the ranks where they have run rampant with impunity and authority. And as it stands, the divided are just about bled dry. Beyond the inward guilt that Adam sustains, there is the daily process of working with colleagues. There have been days where Adam is taken through a minefield of adversity. This current day is one of those days. He constantly encounters stinging objections which he strives to remain dignified through. He is seemingly inundated with difficult tasks to overcome. Tasks in which appreciable progress is difficult to come by. Men and women he calls colleagues constantly try to test his mettle to prove a point of their own. And in doing so, these characters pester his personal sense of identity, his physical appearance, and the sentiments that bore deep within his conscience. Through it all, Adam slips and loses his focus on peace. He begins to rue the day. His mind is ripened to fall. Just as Adam cannot bear another second of scrutiny and boredom, the conversation he shares with his colleagues steers away from him. Adam can see that the subject which his colleagues are speaking of clearly brings them great joy. Perfect. Adam says. Adam mutters to himself. Adam decides to stay for a while. The need of social propriety is getting the best of him yet again. While listening somewhat attentively, he realizes that his colleagues pin much importance on many things. Just things. And to them all somehow, their lives would be unbearably lessened without that tangible thing to hold on to dearly. Adam sees no sentiment in their pursuit. He does not resonate with their passions. He realizes that delight, for him, does not hinge on such substances. He can only presume that it is his psychological state that makes him complete. It is a courteous endowment. He is indebted for it. He smiles as he recognizes what his mind has done for him. Through this conference, he ultimately depended on another person to pick him up freely as he was ready to fall. The additional and unexpected aid he was provided with only deepened the meaning of what he sees. His fellow human was there for him in a time of need. However, his need was not tangible or verbalized. It was only known to Adam himself. Adam sees that all occurrences in the world have a way of vitally lifting up ones in need. And as it so happens, this occurrence is fair and comely in essence. Adam sees that relief can be unveiled to the one in need from sources that one would not have expected it to be from. Adam can now see that chains of occurrences are conclusive and unmistakable. An event that may be maddening and nerve-wracking to experience can really be revised to be naturally gladdening when placed alongside all that preceded and all that follows. Adam knows this now. Apart from the drear, Adam just has not seen many events from another perspective. Adam will see it all to be so one day. Adam has seen it to be so on this day. Adam sees that he has found solace within the day. And by that, he is heartened. He sees his colleagues. He sees that through their search for the same joyance and repose, they have, through their own willfulness and resolve, indulged in the works and concoctions of these manufacturers, hunters, agents, and overlords. His colleagues are willing to offer a lot of what they can give in order to attain this solace and repose. And as Adam has seen through his career, all the indulgences will consequently bolster and strengthen those that seek to divide all. This chain of actions and consequences remained undimmed in Adam's view. He is appreciative that he did not participate in this strengthening and bolstering. However, Adam knows that at one point in time, he was complicit in the bending of policies, which resulted in the consent of this indulging, strengthening, and bolstering. And for that, he has played his part in the attempt to divide all. He sees his colleagues. He ponders sharing his beliefs with them. Adam does not know if they will conceive it the way he does. And in that, he fears to tell them, and thus, further consigning all to the premeditated plan.